all one. One people, many children. One family, many faces. One forest, many trees. One universe, many planets. It is this oneness that brings us together, that connects us, that we celebrate, that we affirm today, and that we trust to carry us forward. And so it is.
So it is.
Yes. Well, good morning. We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. And now we begin the ceremony that celebrates this oneness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths come from the one universal presence that we call spirit. And this morning we have Mrs. Ann Fleming as our candle lighter. Thank you so much. And so let us begin. The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths as a path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And our last candle is the healing candle of love. We invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone or anything you wish to be included in this healing candle of love and light. And now that our flames of faith are fully lit, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mrs. Fleming. And of course, our purpose statement. What is our reason for being? Please join me from home or from here. We awaken and inspire love and oneness. Our vision. What do we want to create or become? We are an empowered, uplifting, inclusive community. And last but not least, our mission. How are we going to do this? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. Joy! Let me try that again. Sorry, Judy, that was for you. And our sacred reading today is from a gentleman by the name of John Lurie. Alfred North Whitehead once pointed out that when we really understand the biological and physiological functioning of the human body and the behavior of the molecules which constitute it, it becomes impossible to entertain the notion of discontinuity between the body and its external environment. Living on this mountain, the author goes on, I can't help but realize that my body is completely integrated with the body of the mountain. Every time I drink the water that spills out of the mountain into the stream, the cells of my body assimilate it. My body is now largely composed of the water that comes from this mountain. We grow our food in the mountain soil. The plants start out as seeds and, by taking in water, light, and minerals from the mountain, eventually manifest themselves as fruits, vegetables, and flowers. Thus, we take the mountain into our very being. We consume it. Our septic systems even return our waste back to the mountain. How could we feel separate from it? And back to our music.
Remember way down deep inside me, I've got the power to love. No matter what is happening around me, I've got the power to love. Lay down my burdens, I've got the power to love. Come on and open my heart and mind, I've got the power to love. Remember way down deep inside me, I've got the power to love. No matter what is happening around me, I've got the power to love. Lay down my tears and fears, I've got the power to love. Come on and open my eyes and ears, I've got the power to love. Remember way down deep inside me, I've got the power to love. No matter what is happening around me, I've got the power to love. Lay down my righteousness, I've got the power to love. Come on and open my spaciousness, I've got the power to love. Remember, I've got the power to love.
To do what?
I've got the power to love.
One more time, everybody.
I've got the power to love.
Yes, I've got the power, if I may. Thank you. Well, welcome again, and good morning on this beautiful day that is still in autumn. I'm celebrating that because before you know it, you guys, we're going to be celebrating winter. So I'm happy that there's still leaves falling, and I think that that's something to embrace. So a few things as far as announcements. We are staying virtual, as many people have probably assumed, and finding ways to continue to stay connected. And on that note, our mission, teaching spiritual transformation. I'm sure you've heard this, but I've got to amp up these classes. They are taking place, and you don't want to miss it. So a couple of things to be on the lookout for. Spiritual principles and practices. To me, this is a fundamental course, and it's a great way to get involved and learn some of the basics that you can easily incorporate into your life. And I'm also super excited to reiterate the 4 principles of prosperity. I actually had the pleasure of kind of being in class with Judy when this divine idea came to mind to assimilate a class on this topic. The way she was inspired by this author speaks for itself. And so I think that it's something, again, that you're not going to want to miss. And last but not least, as far as announcement goes, Visioning for Inner Peace, which is on Wednesday, the 7th. So coming up this week, and the Zoom information is going to be posted on the website. So that is an open invite. The last thing that I want to remember to call out today is that we're here to pray for you. And we are a congregation that studies how to pray in the most effective way. And we know that things look different, but one thing that will never change is that we are here to support you. So go to our website, call the office, reach out. Everybody is going through it in their own way. And prayer is one thing that we can always do to stay connected. So please let us pray for you. It is what we do, what we love to do, and what we will always be here for. So on that note.
I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here here to remind me how much I'm truly loved.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. It has been said that the greatest gift we can give one another is our time. And so I just want to thank you for tuning in today and giving us your time. We're deeply honored to be a part of your Sunday celebration. I want to thank Jessica and Aaron. You guys are awesome. And it was great. We had Angela and Claire in support role too, joining in song. I really miss the days when we could all do that, but we will be there again. But for now, what an awesome job you guys are doing. I also want to thank Stevie. She didn't introduce herself in her modesty, but Stevie Lanier is our practitioner. We call it the platform prac, or the practitioner of the day. Her endeavors make it so much easier for me. And I just want to thank her. What a wonderful job you do. You bring a powerful consciousness to our Sunday. So thank you very much, Stevie. Brene Brown once said, spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all intrinsic. I knew that I would, I was so worried about it, I created it. I absolutely did. Inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. I'm going to be short today, so we're going to do that again. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. The title of my talk today is Inextricably Connected. Inextricably connected. I have three major points. First of all, God is where we are. Number two, we are never alone. And number three, we can stay open to connection. First of all, God is where we are. That infinite creative force that has created all of everything is continually and forever giving expression to itself through us, through each and every one of us, in everything that we do, in our moments of joy and our moments of sadness, from our triumphs to the agony of defeat. That infinite power is with us through every inch of that. God is where we are. It is who we are, no matter what. There is a divine intelligence that is flowing through us no matter what. Ernest Holmes said it so very well. We are in an infinite mind, and infinite mind is also in us. It is by this mind that we think. This mind is eternal, therefore we are eternal. This mind is complete, therefore we are spiritually complete. There's an old story. A pilgrim arrived in heaven, and God greeted him and said, "Would you like to see where you are from?" And the pilgrim said, "Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see that." And so God laid out before him a pathway from cradle to grave. And on that path, there were footprints, like footprints in the sand. And the pilgrim looked down and looked at it, and he says, "Oh, I recognize that, and those footprints are mine. But there is another set of footprints. Whose are those?" And God replied, "Son, those are mine. I was with you all along." And they followed the path, they followed the footprints, and it came to a valley, and the valley was dark and foreboding and scary. It looked like it had cliffs in it and danger. And the pilgrim said, and then in the valley, there's only one set of footprints. And I remember that. I remember being distraught. I remember being filled with fear. And there I was, all by myself. You abandoned me, God. And God said, no, son, I didn't abandon you. I was with you all along. You see, those footprints are mine. I carried you through that valley. I love that story in that it really emphasizes this concept that infinite creative force is always with us. It can be a little confusing because we are looking at a force that's outside of ourselves, that is carrying us. But it is carrying us. It is carrying us from within because it is expressing itself as us. It is part of us. So we can never be without that infinite creative force. God, Spirit, is always with us no matter what. And that leads us to point number 2, and that is we are never alone. When we recognize our spiritual identity as one with the infinite, we can recognize that we are never alone. When we realize that infinite force is part of us, it can never be separate from us. Once again, I turn to Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes wrote, "No man ever walks life's road alone. There is ever another who walks with him. This is his inner self, the undying reality which his personality but poorly emulates. Let us learn to be still and let the truth speak through us. Be still and know that inner light shines." But knowing that this infinite creative force is always with us does not mean that this infinite creative force controls us. No, we are continually and forever at choice. We are at choice of every moment of every day in everything that we do. We are free to choose lack and limitation over prosperity and abundance. We are free to choose separateness over love and togetherness and oneness. We are free to do all of those things. And as a part of that goes right along with it, a natural consequence of that is that we have consequences and responsibility. One time I had a lady come to me after service and ask for a 1-minute miracle. And what she wanted was a new job. She was tired of her job and she wanted a new job. And I did a 1-minute miracle for her. We prayed together and it felt really good. And when we were done, she asked for a session later. And so she came in and we met together and on this issue of getting a new job. But as I talked with her, what came out is that she was still using the resume that she had 10 years earlier. And she hadn't even had an application yet. She hadn't filled out an application. She hadn't even applied for work anywhere. Well, that divine creative force requires us to take part in what we do. We have a responsibility. In this case, we have a responsibility to freshen up the old resume, make sure that that's up to date and references are current and things are good, and to go out and actually apply for a job. It's going to be really tough for the divine creative force of the universe to get us a new job when we're not out looking for it. So we have a responsibility for what we do. And I bring this up today because we're at a time in our nation, in our world, where there's a lot of things going on. We've got the coronavirus. We've got politics. We've got wars in part of the world. We've got fires. We've got famine. There's so many things that are going on. And it is our responsibility to get out and do what we can. And perhaps the single biggest thing that we can do as citizens of the city of Anchorage, of the state of Alaska, of the United States of America, as global citizens, is to get out and participate and vote. It is our responsibility. And it doesn't, make any difference. I invite you to look at the various candidates and see which one represent your values and to go vote for that candidate. Today happens to be the last day that we can register to vote. And I hope that we have, oh, look at that. You guys are awesome. Alaska Voter Registration website, it's there on the screen. I'd like to leave that up for a little bit and give people the opportunity to write that down so that they can go and register online. Now, some people may be wondering, well, am I already registered? I don't want to try and register if I already am. Well, most of us are already registered because we get registered when we fill out the PFD. That is an automatic thing that does in the state of Alaska. So most of us are already registered. But you can go in and verify that at the second address below, the URL, and myvoterinformation.alaska.gov, and it's real easy. You just put in your name and your zip code, and it pops up. It's really cool. It tells you, what House district you're in, what Senate district you're in. It tells you where your polling place is, what precinct you're in, and it even will give you, if you click on another thing, it'll give a little map on how to get to the polls. So you can do that. Another thing, by registering today, will give you the opportunity, if you are in a group who perhaps is more vulnerable and you're not sure about going out and risking going out around others and perhaps contracting the coronavirus, you can then go in and apply for an absentee ballot, and you can vote by mail. So there are different opportunities to do that, but I urge everyone to get out and vote. We have to give that divine current an opportunity to flow through us. It reminds me of the story. Reverend Rachel Hollander always used to tell it, and I loved it. It was the guy that was facing the flood, and the first thing came, and there was an evacuation notice, and he says, no, God will save me. And then the flood came, and it got worse and worse, and the streets are flooded and everything, and water's raising in his house, and up came a boat, and they came up, and they said, we'll save you, we'll take you out. And he says, no, he says, God will save me. The water got higher and higher, and the next thing you know, he's standing on his roof, and the water's still getting higher, and the boat came, and the helicopter flew over, whoop, 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 and it puts down the cable, and he says, no, he says, God will save me. Well, the water got higher, and he drowned. And he ended up in heaven, and he said to St. Peter, he says, I'm really disappointed. He says, I was sure that God had saved me. About that time, God said, well, I sent you the evacuation notice, I sent the boat, and I sent the helicopter. What more can I do? Well, we're kind of like that. We have to take charge of what we're doing. So I encourage everyone to get out and vote. Third point is we can stay open to connection. And there's a lot of different kinds of connection. First of all, we want to talk about connecting with ourselves, getting in touch with ourselves. How do you feel when you go out the door every morning? We get in tune with our best self. When you get out and go out the door, are you happy? Are you excited to meet the day? Or are you grumpy? Or are you just plain there, going through the motions? What were your spiritual practices like this morning? It's tough to be at our best when we are not at our best. How were those spiritual practices today? The second thing we can do is connecting with Spirit, with that infinite presence that is always with us. When we leave our house grounded in that awareness of that infinite presence within us, It is reflected in everything we do. That gives us the opportunity then to release our story. Our story no longer matters because we know that that infinite presence is with us. Another way that we can stay open to connection is to connecting with one another. Mother Teresa said, and this, I love Mother Teresa quote, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other." If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So I'd like to lead everybody in a little exercise now. This is kind of like one of Kaleem's call and response things, or like our affirmation. I will say something and I'm going to ask you to repeat it. But you're not repeating to me. First of all, I want you to visualize someone. It can be anyone. It can be a loved one. It can be a relative. It can be a stranger. It can be the guy in the car next to you as you're driving in today that was singing up a storm as he was waiting at the light. It can be someone that you may have difficulty with. But I want you to think of someone. And I want you to put that person in your mind. And as you repeat after me, you are speaking to that person. Visualize someone. And then repeat after me. Just like me, you are seeking some happiness in your life.
Just like
Me, you are seeking some happiness in your life. Very good. Just like me, you are trying to avoid suffering in your life. Just like me, you are trying to avoid suffering in your life. Just like me, you have known sadness. Just like me, you have known sadness. Just like me, you want to be loved.
Just like me, you want to be loved.
Just like me, you were once an innocent child. Just like me, you were once an innocent child. And just like me, you are a spirit on a journey. Just like me, you are a spirit on a journey. This lets us connect with anyone when we can recognize that we are all just seeking happiness, avoiding suffering. We've all known sadness. We all want to be loved. We are all innocent children, and we are all spiritual beings on a journey. So what I want you to take away today, the connection that is happening when we connect with ourselves, with spirit, or with one another is the same connection. It is the movement of the divine within us, around us, and between us. So creating a connection with another person also creates a connection to spirit, because spirit is living through them. And it allows for a deeper connection within ourselves. Connecting to spirit also allows for more connection with ourselves, which creates a more genuine connection with others. And so, to close, I'd like to go back to Brené Brown's quote. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power that's greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. Let's make that great commitment to stay connected and stay connected. And so it is with the awareness of that infinite presence that is within each and every one of us, within this room, within our congregation, within our city, our state, our nation. I invite my colleagues, the practitioners, to join me in surrounding our globe in love, in surrounding the entire planet with the awareness that that infinite creative force is indeed working right here, right now. And maybe we are going through that dark valley, that fearful time. And maybe, just maybe, that infinite creative force is carrying us right now. So whatever is going on in our experience that we call life, we can know that there is a higher and a greater truth. For those of us that are experiencing health challenges, including our president, we absolutely know that within each and every one of us, there is a blueprint that is perfect. And it is that perfect blueprint that we embrace. There is a healing going on right now. For those of us that are experiencing lack and limitation, more month than there is paycheck, we just simply know that we live in an abundant universe. And that infinite abundance is making its way to us right now. And for those of us that are feeling separation, that are feeling the pain of not being able to come together, we just simply know that each and every one of us, as divine expressions, are filled with that very love of God. And it is impossible for us to be separate from one another, for we are all connected at the deepest level. And so we just give thanks. We give thanks for our awareness of the power and the presence of God operating through us. We give thanks for health for everyone. We give thanks for prosperity and abundance for everyone. We give thanks for love. And now it just remains for us to step back and allow that divine current, that infinite creative force, to carry us through this dark valley. We let it go, we let it be. And so it is.
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Anything you pray for, if fear is in your way, I am here to listen to anything you have to say. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me and I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now is the time in the service where we are afforded the opportunity to participate in another one of our spiritual practices, the law of circulation. While you're preparing your tithes and offerings, and I just would like to recognize some of the people that we see online today. I want to start off with Jean Karwowski. I hope she made it to Arizona all right. I think she's tuning in all the way from Arizona. Hello, Jean. Don Macon from Seattle. Beverly Churchill. Tiffany. Midnight is there. Judith Mack. Judy Wolf. Rochelle Norton. Cynthia George. Lou Ann. Don Naff. Robert. Sam. Linda Steiner, Ann Tompkins, Joan Heidel, Reverend Linda, Lynn and Marion, and Michelle Scammon and Ninetta. I will tell a story, a short one. In lieu of a joke, I've tried to start doing these a little bit feel-good type stories. And since we talked about community, I thought this was a good one because it deals with community. A guy by the name of Tim Joris. He's a 45-year-old teacher from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He knew he didn't have long to live. He'd been battling cancer for several years, and the doctors told him that it was terminal. So Joris, and I think we have a picture of him, maybe. He's the guy in the front row in the black shirt. He decided it was finally time to repaint the outside of his house. It was something that his wife had been wanting for a long, long time, and if there was ever a time for fulfilling wishes, it would be now. Originally, he'd asked a friend to take care of the task for him next year with the understanding that Joris sadly might not be around to see it through. However, word got out to his community, and more than a dozen people showed up to get the job done while Joris could still enjoy it. They drank craft beers, they told stories, and within half a day the house was a beautiful new shade of blue. It's just one way, Joris says, that his friends and neighbors have stepped up during this difficult time. My community has really gone to bat for my family and me over and over and over. That is that connection in action. That is the absolute picture of God's love. It's when we come together like that. So, let's see, I've got no I don't, I've got all my, oh, here we go. I don't know who's doing that basket. Maybe I have to run over and get it myself. Oh.
A little fairy. A little fairy is coming along.
Well, before we do it, join me in our affirmation. Oh, I better get it.
Or is it?
I don't know. I'll take one. What did I get? I always have everything I need, like the basket. Please join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am.
And as I remember who it is that I am, I remember that I am only that of which I am connected to, my community, my source, that one infinite love that brings us together. In the face of adversity, in the face of differences, we share that one love. Sometimes we share that one pain. But the one thing that will never change is that we are infinitely, forever connected as one, in spirit, on this earth, in every way. And so we take that as we go along our separate paths. We remember the one path that is the path to oneness, the path to God, the path of spirit. And so it is.
And so it is. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, plus the progress that you make, reason you live, found in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do amazing things.
Our affirmation today, God is,
God is,
I am,
I am,
we are,
we are,
and so it is.
and so it is.